something beautiful is on its way to you. This is the experience of a lifetime, my dear friend. You want to give yourself this at all costs to your ego, your pride, and your fears. Love, it's everywhere. It's beautiful. It lives within. It doesn't need to be created. It is already there for you. We've hiked down 3 canyons, and here we are. Let's shoot it, baby. I feel the funky chicken, the funky Messiah. Yes! Search for yourself on your own. Go within yourself. Find it within your breath, within your very spirit.
Mrs. Nixon is done.
Now I want to do a little magic trick. A spiritual path brings us to a place in our life where we discover the diamond and we learn how to pull it out of the mud. It's all very interesting. Welcome to Aspire. We're working on we know not what we do, and I want that phrase to sink very deeply in you. We know not what we do. We're looking at the causation of personal violence that lives within all of us. Now, a lot of you out there think that you're not violent, but once you start to understand my definition of violence and maybe give it a consideration beyond the conceptual ideas that you're used to living by, you might consider the idea of changing the way you go about living your life. This is just a suggestion. Let me define personal violence for you. It is about how I treat myself on the inside. It is about living for the idea of survival at all costs to the nature of who I am, the nature of what I am spiritually, the nature of what I am organically even. When I start understanding the nature of myself as a spiritual being, I understand that this body and this beautiful world that we live in here is about supporting the nature of my spirit, not the ambitions of my desires that compensates for the pain that I'm in constantly. You see, most of us are in a great deal of pain that we don't really understand. Let me give you some signs of our pain and culturally in our society what it's all about. You know, we love the hard edge of life. Our sports have to be hard and fast, and we like sports where people get hurt. We like our politics really nasty and dirty. Our religion is about a dead Savior, and we're always focusing on the idea of Him being dead and what He died for because of people like you and me, and we're sinners, and that He resurrected for us, and now we're all indebted to Him because He took on the sins of a world where a God, can you imagine this, got so PO'd at who you were that He decided to kill everybody and have Jesus save us. All of this rigmarole, this craziness that we go through is a part of our personal violence. How do you coerce a child? How do you get anyone to do anything but under the threat of some kind of violence that you're going to take something away from them, discipline them with a method of hurting them, something that injures them emotionally, psychologically. And if we get their behavior the way we want their behavior to be, we pattern them for the rest of our life in the whole idea that violence is the way to cure anybody's behavior. It's sad but true. Look at our prisons. Look at our children. They're piercing their bodies, tattooing themselves. Their music is hard, it's cold. We like the hard, cold facts of life, as it were. All of this contributes to the way we live our life. Now, what am I suggesting? I am suggesting that maybe we look at our life from a spiritual point of view, not a philosophical point of view. We have forgotten that we are spiritual. We have no idea what our spirit is. We have sacrificed our spirit for a foundation of philosophy and religion that is based in hostility. We like to live on the hard edge of ourselves. I am suggesting maybe that we come to a place inside of us where we start to surrender to the part of us that allows us to be nurtured by love. This means we're going to have to understand how to mourn. Everybody suffers in this world. I suffer, you suffer. We've all had our tragedies and our pains in this life. All of us. Jesus had it, Buddha had it, we all have it. It is a part of living, but it is not there to punish you and say you've done wrong. It's there to help make a course correction on the inside, where we start to follow our spirit instead of our hate and our fear. How do you mourn? Do you know how to mourn? Did you teach your children how to mourn? How to, shall we say, suffer, but without the idea of guilt and shame being involved in it? How to hurt, but not be, so to speak, guilt-ridden about it? Did you teach your children how to forgive? We're not a forgiving people at all. We don't believe in forgiveness. I mean, when you say, please forgive me, and someone says to you, okay, I'll forgive you, do you buy it? You think they've really forgiven? Forgiveness is a lifestyle, not some commandment you make over somebody's behavior or some condition. It's the way you live on the inside, very forgiving. But we don't live like that generally. The way most of us live is on the hard edge of the idea of pain and suffering being the motivator for everything that we do. Meditation, spiritual practice, and inner work, it is about cultivating a part of us that the society does not support. There's no one who's going to support you in this spiritual practice. You can't look to your parents, your family, or your friends because they're all indoctrinated in the cold figures of life, the cold attitude, the hardness of life. Jesus said, "Why is it you cannot hear me? You have ears to hear and eyes to see, but you cannot understand." He said it's because of the hardness of your heart. And he was right. We live very coldly on the inside, and facts and opinions mean more to us than the ebb and the flow of a spiritual value, which is silence and playfulness, the energy that is love. The alternative to what we are living now is not one we accept very readily. It is the idea of not being sensationalistic and trying to gratify ourselves every 5 minutes to make our pain go away. It is about living beyond our pain into the very threshold of our being. Most of the people that watch my program really don't understand very much of what I'm trying to offer. They don't get what I'm talking about. I am not talking about how to improve your life and get what you want. I leave that for the motivational speakers and the people who do the everyday talk shows. What I'm trying to offer to you is something about your withinness. What is your withinness? You know your bank account, you know the names of your children, you know your husband or your wife, you know where you live, you know your address, but do you know what lives within you? Are you aware? You see, the people that raised you wanted you to be afraid of what was within you. And they told you that the only way for you to get love and feel right about yourself is in getting the judgment of other people around you. So you had to say all the right things, not the wrong things, to get the affection of those around you to make your inner self feel good. But it never really worked, did it? No matter how you tried, it never worked. That's why you're drinking or you're smoking or you're overeating or you're into some obsessive compulsive thing, because inside of you there's still that pain and that frustration. It doesn't mean that anything's wrong in you. It means you're not following your heart. That's all it means. We get very crazy when we start looking at our life from the idea of right and wrong, good and bad. We lose our sense of self. You had yourself taken away from you many years ago, when your friends and family said to you, it's more important what others think of you than your relationship to love itself, which is about meditation, not philosophy. It has nothing to do with philosophy. We're so indifferent about all of it too. We really don't care. We don't care that we lost our spirit years and years and years ago. I was sitting in the back seat of a very expensive car recently, and I was sitting there with a former student, and they had never really put themselves into this practice. They never really focused on it very well. They were into it to keep their relationship together and to straighten him or her out. It was kind of convoluted. And they left the practice and got insulted, because people get insulted when they start to look inside themselves and they don't see what they hope to see or what is familiar to them. So I looked at this person and I said, hey, how are you doing? There's all this money, they're doing well, their business is thriving. Everything she ever wanted, she had. She was sitting in the car of her dreams, wearing the clothes she wanted. She was going places she had never dreamed possible because they had the money to do it. And she turns to me and she says, well, Greg, you know something? I wasted my life. And I said, really? I was dumbfounded that she admitted it. Then she picks up a cell phone not 2 seconds later to call to make a spa day for herself in Sonoma. And that was it. No more was said. The pain is there. I'll go have a spa day, make myself feel better. What do you do to make yourself feel better? Is it food? Is it alcohol? Is it shopping? What is it? Everybody has something, and we try to find something fairly legitimate so we can say, well, everybody's doing it. You know, everybody eats and everybody drinks and la, 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 la. Everybody hoards money, la, la. We have lots of ways of looking at this, but I'm telling you, none of this is going to help you. The personal violence that we do to ourselves, we know not what we do to ourselves, is based on the whole idea that we have no sense of self, that we live in narrow little tunnels, narrow little passageways in our mind that are dark and kind of dingy, to make ourselves live in a place that we can feel comfortable and get through our life. We really don't care. If I said to you, what is more important? Door number one, which is all the money you could ever want in your life, all the things you could ever hope for, your health, your family, everything, or the door that is the mystery of life. Which door do you take? Well, I think it's a no-brainer, isn't it? We take the door that everybody goes through. We want that gratification. We want that false sense of security. We live like hopies. We're always hoping for this to happen and hoping that won't happen. Knowing who you are on the inside and finding out the real authentic you is the deepest blessing of life you will ever know. In fact, it is one of the major reasons why we are here on this beautiful earth. We are here to find out what lives within, and it's all beautiful. The reason it doesn't look beautiful is the orientation I have to my own thinking. My mind that is always thinking in black and white, right and wrong, good and bad. We create religion, philosophy, and politics to support our self-hatred, to support the anger and the violence that we feel on the inside that we've grown so accustomed to. And the sad part about it is we keep it going because we know not what we do.
The meditations have pointed me back to something that, I didn't know was there at first. I always was searching for something. And the meditations kind of just allow me to see that my search may be in vain and I need to just stop searching and just be there in the moment.
So the idea of what am I willing to sacrifice? To me, the word sacrifice is all wrong here. It's more about what am I willing to let go of. If I see giving up my vanity, my pride, my selfishness, my arrogance as a form of sacrifice, then I am not willing to give it up. It's not a sacrifice, it's a gift. I have to be willing to let go of it. Buddha took all of those elements of human personality, vanity and pride, selfishness, greed, and he called them desire. And he was so right. To let go of my desires. I know what you're saying. I can't do that. No, you can do it. You just don't choose to do it right now because you're more interested in your survival than you are in your life. When a person is living in survival, they can't give anything up. They hoard through their vanity, their pride, their ego, their selfishness. Until you're willing to put yourself out there, so to speak, in your own heart and fly, you're not going to find any tremendous meaning to your life at all. The meaning of your life is not contained in your vanity, your pride, the things you accomplish. It's in your let go. The real bravery of life is how much am I willing to let go? One of the greatest statements I have ever heard in my life, and to me one of the most powerful, is only live for those things that you can take with you through death. That means I cannot take my money, my pride, my arrogance, my thoughts, or my beliefs with me through death. So maybe that means the only thing I can take with me through death is learning how to live in the moment and being willing to let go of everything that keeps me from the moment. The single most significant moment in a person's life is not when they get married or they have a baby or anything like that. It is when fear no longer influences us in the way we live our life, where we are influenced more by love. This is a deeply significant moment in a human being's life. It doesn't mean that you have abandoned the people that you love. It means that you've abandoned the teachings that they gave you about self-hatred. No one can give you your authentic self. I can't give it to you, no one can. People can encourage you to find your authentic self, your real self, but no one can make you do it. You must find it beyond the comfort of being part of some kind of idea that you have, that you belong to a society, a culture, even a family. If you look at Jesus, he betrayed his family. If you look at his teachings, he let go of his family. And he talked about it often. He said, "Know ye not, I must be about my Father's business." Buddha did the same thing. He abandoned his kingdom, his father, his mother, his wife, his children, all to pursue the effort of awakening. What does that mean? Am I saying that to you? Well, maybe yes, maybe no. You have your own path. What I am saying to you is the most important thing in your life cannot be living according to fear and then trying to make it look like love. I watch people dress up fear and they try to make it look like it's love. Oh, I'm afraid my kid will go across the street and get hurt. I'm afraid that I'll get ripped off over here. I'm afraid that this person isn't telling me the truth and then I'm going to fall into, some scam. Everybody's afraid of something. But I'll tell you the thing that most of us are afraid of that we don't want to admit, and that is the love that lives deep in our heart. Your path is not in a Bible, in a Gita, in a Quran, in the Tao, or even in the Dhammapada. Your path is in your heart. And when you are more willing to live in the love of your life, rather than in the speculation of your interpretation of any scripture, you have come to a moment where you're in an authentic practice. Meditation, spiritual awakening, is about listening to a vibe, listening to silence, feeling it, and allowing ourselves to be motivated and guided, as it were, by our intuition about those deep feelings we have that we abandoned for other people's affection of us, their love and their hate. This takes a tremendously secure person to work on this kind of thing inside. What is personal security? It is the recognition and the knowing of who and what we are, beyond the conceptual ideas that we have been taught. And when I am no longer interested in the idea of myself, but I am interested in the experience that lives inside of me, that's when things start to change. I advocate meditation. You know I do. Meditation has been the greatest teacher for me. It is the only path there is. Meditation. How do you meditate? How should you take that meditation into your life? If my meditations are not making me less opinionated, if my meditations are not making me less right, where I don't have to be right about everything, if my meditations are not bringing me to that place where I can forgive myself for realizing I know not what I do, then I'm not in meditation. Meditation brings me to an interesting place inside. It is the place where only love exists, where actually no thing exists. There are no thoughts to be confused about. The most confusing aspect of human beings' lives is trying to understand what is human and what is divine, and people try to merge them. I say, live in the harmony of your heart, and your human side will follow you. It will understand, it will follow. As time goes on and you get more adept at your practice, you will find it easier and easier to follow your silences rather than your thoughts. When Jesus said, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do," you have to really understand the magnitude of what he's saying. This is really important. He is saying, give up your rightness. Everybody around us thinks they're right, but the thing that is most beautiful is the beauty that lives within your heart.
Greg is a wonderful teacher. He's empathic. He really understands what's going on inside of you, and it can give you the help that you need in the direction that you need at the right time. And getting all those things together is not always an easy thing to do. And Greg is very good at that.
Listen to this one. Dear Gregory, do you believe in soulmates? Soulmates, like there's some special person out there for you. Absolutely not. There is no such thing as a soulmate. There are many different people you can be with, but what really is the question is, why do I want a relationship in the first place? Does this relationship complete and complement some certain part of my ego, my vanity, my pride? Or does this relationship take me into the depths of love and bring me to a place where I am challenged by my idea of love and what I think a relationship is? I can't have a relationship with you if I don't have one with myself. And the interesting thing is that the more I have a relationship with myself, the less I, quote unquote, need you the way I used to. Well, now what do I do? What do I say to you now? Are you my soulmate now? I don't need to confide in you like I used to. I don't need to talk to you about every little thing. I find understanding and depth inside of me. The whole effort of relationships is to teach us a few things. Maybe a little bit about my selfishness, maybe a little bit about my ignorance, maybe a little bit about how I hope for you to compensate for my pain, to teach me how I project on you myself when it's really me that is the issue. Those are invaluable lessons, and lots of people can teach you those. But the most important lesson in relationship is not to find your soulmate, but to find that which lives within you. That which is beyond the idea of mates. It goes beyond the idea of people. It's about finding out who you and I really are. I really enjoyed this program. The thing I find very interesting is that parents don't teach their children the way of the heart. They teach them pride, they teach them vanity, they teach them selfishness, but they don't teach them the way of the heart. I wonder why. Well, maybe it's because they weren't taught. When you sit down with your children, do you teach them how to meditate, watch their breath, focus? Do you teach them that pride is more important than humility? Do you teach them that anger is more important than surrender? Do you teach them that hate can do more than love? Do you teach them the idea of this is a good person, this is a bad person, this is a right person, this is a wrong person? Yeah. We always need to have opposition, conflict as I like to say, and that is the source of our violence. We don't really understand how we nurture that violence in our life and how it pertains to our living because we are so immersed in it. When was the last time you were ever nurtured by the quality of your own spirit? When was the last time you nurtured your heart and your soul by just sitting and watching your breath? When was your soul, your essence, more important than your finances or what other people thought of you or what was going on in your family? When was the last time you put the strength of your own spirit ahead of the weakness of your own flesh? Probably, maybe never. I don't know. But that is what a practice is all about. That's what our life is all about. Life is not philosophical. You cannot teach life to anyone. You can only point your finger to what life is and then hope and pray that the person gets it. As a teacher, that's what I do. I'm not here to tell a person this is the way you should live and this is the way you shouldn't live. That's not really my place in life. Nor do I tell people that the quality of their life is based on the lifestyle of their money or their power or their prestige. None of that really matters. You got to learn to live for those things that you can take with you through death. And you can't take those things with you through death. What can you take with you? Well, I've said it 1,000 times. You can only take you. And what you feel on the inside of yourself, that love that you feel on the inside. Make every moment of your life count. Stop trying to convince other people that you need their affection and you'll do anything for it. Stop trying to make things be the way you want them to be to make you emotionally comfortable. Nurture the strength of your spirit in your life by meditating. Take time to watch your breath. You just never know what will happen in the essence of your emptiness. Thank you for watching and being with me. Please forgive me, won't you? Namaste. Master, is there any way that I can be more disciplined in the Tao?
Why, yes, there is.
What is that?
When you're hungry, you eat. When you're tired, you sleep.
That's it? I don't get it.
Jeez, he's dumb.
Welcome to Aspire. We're gonna let's do it again. Better. Watch your breath. You're not getting pictures of this. Yeah, this is really hard stuff. I pay him $50 an hour to do this.
It's wonderful!
Now, what we want here, Ray, is something really honest. Do you understand? Something really honest. And I'm going to be just standing over there, all right, pointing this at you. So make sure you say exactly what I want to hear. Thanks, Ray, for doing this.
I aspire higher and higher. I could have been a singer, a real contender. Instead, I'm a guru.